It goes hot cross buns, 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns.
I don't know that song. Never heard it.
We need to bring in
Here's the thing.
buckets and wooden spoons.
Well, yeah. If we're going to
drum
be a
kit.
band, I'm totally the drummer because I've been a drummer my whole life.
I'm a snapper.
Matter of fact, I feel like that, if I ever get like my future man cave that actually is bigger than the closet, then I'm going to totally put a drum set in it, put headphones on, listen to like hardcore metal and just play the drums to it. That's like a dream of mine.
That's crazy. The whole time you were talking, I was thinking about my instrumental past.
Which is what?
So
One time at band camp.
No. I'm glad you make yourself laugh.
I know.
No, I always wanted, I don't know, I really wanted to follow in my sister's footsteps. Like to the point where I sit and I look back and go, God, could you have made a decision for yourself? Like
So what did she play?
My sister played the cello.
Right.
In orchestra.
And so you played the cello.
So I played the cello.
But you see, a lot of times that happens to other children. And the reason is because parents can't afford to buy another instrument.
Yeah, I think you could rent the cello. I think you rented from the school.
Okay.
So no, I truly just.
What else did you follow in your sister's footsteps?
I played lacrosse.
She played lacrosse?
Yeah.
I did not know she played lacrosse.
She was actually really good.
Was she?
My sister's quite athletic. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
I
also think that she's the type that would body check another player.
Yeah, she probably was really good at that.
Like I feel
she
like
played
there's
in college.
like a
My
side of
parents
her
traveled to her
that could
college.
we'll have
games.
to ask her husband and just be like, does she ever like body check you? Like, is there a side of her that could just like, boom,
She doesn't, but I'm sure she wants to sometimes.
Don't we all?
But yeah, I mean, I couldn't body check
What else did you follow
I'd
her?
fall straight down on the ground.
Oh, I know. You'd take a running start, you'd hit me and just be like, and fall over. I'd be like, what are you doing?
I'd be on the ground like, I'm mad at you.
Yeah. Like, why'd you do that?
No, but I did. So I started playing the cello and it reminded me, one of my mom's friends came over and I like knew this song and I was so excited. They were like literally having a friend over for dinner. And I was like, I'm going to put on a concert for you. And they were probably like, oh God, okay.
Were you good?
No, I was terrible. So I sat.
So they had to listen to terrible music while they ate dinner.
Well, she was like.
Was dinner good?
I don't remember, but I was like playing and I remember she like sparked up a conversation and I was so angry. This woman like didn't give me her undivided attention for my cello concert.
Oh my gosh.
I was sitting on a folding
If the
chair
parentals
in
are
my
listening,
kitchen.
text us when you hear this. I'd like to know if you remember this incident.
Well, I know who it was, but I'm not going to.
Don't say. Let's just
No.
see if they remember
Yeah.
the incident.
But anyway, yeah, I know who it was. Literally to this day, I remember because I was so upset over it. And the woman is very nice now. Well, there's a hint it was a woman, but no surprise there that it was my mom's friend over.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But anyway, I did end up switching to the violin. And
Okay.
I was always, stellar at playing hot cross buns on the recorder.
I don't even know what that is. So,
What?
no.
Oh my gosh, Maria's not looking like she knows either.
No. What? I've never heard of that.
Everybody listening, okay, we need a poll. Do you know what a recorder is and hot cross buns?
Well, first of all, a recorder is just that plastic flute.
Yeah, that everyone learns to play.
Okay. No,
And
not
the
everyone.
song-
I played the drums.
No, it's like not even like you don't even need to be in music class. It's just like if you're not even in music class, you get a recorder and everyone has to play hot cross buns.
Okay. Can you sing it for us?
Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. It goes hot cross buns, 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns.
I don't know that song. Never heard it.
It was a good rendition.
You
there
did good
just
though.
now.
I'm proud of you.
Anyway, this all started because we were banging on the table when we started, and I was like, we need to be like the Blue Man Group and get like our buckets and wooden spoons and really play.
I think we have a lot of salt buckets in the back. We could probably pull a few.
We should.
I wonder if I still have that huge stack of buckets. There was a point where I just started collecting the buckets, and my thought is I'll sell the buckets because they're worth at least $1 or $2, and if I have 50 of them, then that's $50.
Wow.
And some people don't care about that kind of stuff.
Shit.
I care.
I don't care.
I know you don't care.
I get something and it was $50, and I'm like, oh, not going to use
You know
this.
what you
never
also
gonna-
don't care about?
What?
Is spraying the front yard.
Oh God, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a plastic yard. And so, taking care, we have plastic grass.
We have AstroTurf in our community.
AstroTurf?
Yeah, isn't that what it's called?
No, I don't. That's like for a football stadium or something.
Isn't that fake grass?
I don't know. My whole fake grass understanding is pretty low. But here's what I know, right? That grass was designed for animals.
We have a plastic yard. You're making it sound like we live in Lego land.
We might as well.
Clarified.
No joke. Our front yard, because we live downtown, and we probably have 100 square feet. Like maybe if we're lucky, we have 200 square feet of fake grass. And in that fake grass, they said when we bought there, like, hey, this is for your animals can use the restroom in here. This is designed for filtration. And your dogs. I guess your cats, but I don't think cats like go on the lawn. So your dogs, right?
No,
so
but our neighbor's cat used to like sit outside on the edge of like the third floor balcony. And you're like,
it was like a gargoyle, like on the outside of a building.
But
just
if this thing jumped, it would have died.
No, it wouldn't have. It has 9 lives. It would have done like a tuck roll.
Anyway, I was so nervous for that cat every day of its life.
Anyways, you have a lot of pet peeves, right? Like for things that you want me to do around the house and this and that.
I don't even know why this came up.
I have one.
I have no idea why we're talking about
I don't know, but it's on the list. It's basically chores.
You put it on the list?
I did. And so the thing is, I ask for one thing. Right. And so people, if you have kids, their kids do chores, and in a couple in a house, they usually have things that they typically will do. One does more of this and the other one does the other this. And you it's like the unspoken rules of.
I saw this funny video the other day, and it was like, if you needed help understanding, it was like this guy had a sliding glass door open, and it was like, this is the outside. And he like stepped on one side of it, and he was like, I, like, as the man of the house, am responsible for everything outside. And then he stepped inside and he was like, this is the inside. And he was like, me and my wife are responsible for everything inside. So based on that, the outside is your territory.
Right. And I'm okay with that. The problem is that I would actually rather you not pick up. We have here's the rule.
I haven't.
Pick up the poop. We have a spray gun with some chemicals in it that help break down anything because it sticks to the plastic grass.
Look,
the sun comes out, it bakes on the grass. And so all I ask is that, hey, if you're going to pick it up, spray it. And you're like, well, you can go spray it afterwards. But the problem is I don't know where the poop was at that point, right? It could be anywhere.
Anyway, I swear I use the spray bottle, but this man, every time I don't, he's like, where people just like appear.
Yeah, I do appear. And I'm like, actually, when you're out there, I'll go through the balcony. I'll look down the balcony and be like, she got a spray bottle in your hand. First of all, if you walk in the door without the spray bottle in your hand, you're guilty as charged. Like,
whatever.
I know that to be the case.
You know what? I'm helpful. I pick up the poop. I just care. I don't want our neighbors to see poop in our yard. So I'm like, helpful.
I know. You used to give such a hard time for the neighbors down the road because
was disgusting.
They were disgusting.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. I feel guilty when it's been, 5 hours.
Me too.
Matter of fact, I feel like we should kick ourselves out.
And the only time that happens is if like we're, it's 5 a.m., the baby's crying, you can't go out, like something's going on.
So there's like a violation report function in one of our new softwares, and I'm trying to decide
for communities.
I'm trying to decide like how we manage like the violations coming in from a community, because you have those like community ninjas, those like association warriors who are like walking and they're like, this yard, their grass is 1 inch taller than everyone else's.
I know, it's insane. There are
roof's dirty
in every community that have issue. And honestly, oh my gosh, the community drama. There's some people that just absolutely love it. Like they're all about it. We had someone, gosh, this is terrible. I mean, it's probably a HIPAA violation, but there was someone in our community who had skin cancer, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And they had to build extra coverage on
they had to build like a
floor.
shade structure on their porch.
And the uproar from the community.
No, it was from one person.
Well,
and he was just like, you put it up. It was like, matter of fact, it looked beautiful. And the guy's like, I can't sit out.
Pissed.
I have to sit in the shade. I got a condition.
And this person's like, I have to stare at this. It's
have to
just
stare.
look
It's like,
the other way.
Seriously.
Oh, people are so
whatever.
crazy.
What's funny is like, we live downtown, and on the back of our units, there's a bank and a parking lot. And then we put like a nice little grass buffer there, or not grass,
fence.
Like on the fence, the balcony, we put like greenage.
Oh, you're talking about
greenery.
our place.
Yeah, our place. And so I actually was online and I saw this really cool trellis thing that we could put. And I was thinking about putting it on the where our floor is on the for our bedroom, and so that it would just kind of shield to be more natural. And we could put some bougainvillea out there and stuff like that because we never sit out there.
Here's the deal: I can't keep a plant alive to save my life.
That is the honest to God truth.
I am so good animals all day long. I mean, you could trust me with an animal for if an animal was on the street, I'd keep it alive for the rest of its life. Like I can do animals all day long. Any animal, even fish, I'm pretty good at keeping alive.
Fish are almost impossible to kill.
Impossible to kill.
Yeah.
We'll talk to my sister and Nick about that one.
Oh,
those poor
fish?
beta fish. They just
speaking of
never last
outside,
long.
the garage also falls into kind of the outside in my mind. So
we've already talked about that.
No, I was just going to say the garage has been cleaned for like the last month.
Oh, nice.
Like,
I thought
it
you
has
was
stayed
I hit
organized.
the garage one time. The garage company didn't have a replacement, so it's dented.
Oh, so you're bringing up the time that you and your sister went out and had a few
We already
drinks?
talked about it. That's what I was
Okay.
going to say. We already talked about it. I hit the garage with the golf cart. I was very confused. I was like, what happened?
Every time I look at it, I remember you too.
So we
giggling.
are that house that's like, when are they going to fix the garage? It's like never. They discontinued the door that matches the rest of the
and plus,
community.
it is kind of minor in the terms of like I notice it every time and sit there and think about
I'm
you.
over it. I don't even look at it.
Yeah, no, you don't. But I don't even think about like that it's that bad.
No.
I think that whenever we sell our place, that people will be like, the garage door has a dent in it, and be like, yeah, sorry, discontinued.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone probably would certainly comment.
Yeah. Like I said, they're like, oh, everything's so gorgeous. And they're going to be like, we want $20,000 off because the garage door has a
I'd be like,
ding in
yeah,
it.
you're shit out of luck.
Yeah, I'd be
We'll
like,
find
yeah, we
someone
built
who's
you a
okay
wine
with
nook.
my dent.
Yeah, take that.
Yeah.
Although we don't think we're going to sell our place anytime soon. Matter of fact, there was a huge article, speaking of this the other day. And I think I say huge because it appears in like the Times or something like that.
That's pretty big
And-
if it's in the Times.
Yeah, I think so. And it was
where
talking
is it
about
bigger?
it was talking about the sheer vast number of people that are locked in their homes with we've talked about the interest rates.
2.85% interest rate.
Like if you have a 3% interest rate, like
You
you're
ain't.
not going anywhere.
Never.
And now I'm starting to see a couple memes popping up and it's kind of like, yeah, my life sucks, can't move, but and it's tied to their
You're,
interest
like,
rate and their low
sobbing.
payments. Yeah.
I know. Well, it is insane. I even the other day, this is nothing to do with the interest rates, but I was there's a friend who's living in somebody else's house and paying them rent. And, I was like, oh, is this person going to look for their own place eventually? Like they've got a significant other now. So it's kind of like, okay, time, this is an adult in their 30s. And I was like, what are they paying, for rent? Because the comment was, no, they just can't find a place that they'd be able to afford. Well, they're paying $700 right now for a house with a backyard and a pool. I mean, yes, it's a shared house with one other person, but they have their own bedroom, their own bathroom, their own office space. And it's like, yeah, you're not going to find anything for $700.
No.
Probably in the next decade.
No.
I'm like, yeah.
No, yeah.
I know.
I mean, I can't even imagine something.
And
Not
I'm
in
pretty
Sarasota.
sure that person's getting such a good deal just because it's like the rentee is just being very nice.
Yeah. If I could do it all over again, and I went back, I don't know if you knew this or not, but one of my first purchases that I'd lined up when I got out of college and the officer school was, I was going to buy a quadplex. I was going to be stationed in Fort Hood in, Texas. And there was a community and I had arranged to buy a brand new fourplex and I was going to live in it and rent the other 3 out. And that was my goal for my first home.
That's insane that you left college and you were like, I'm going to buy something and rent it out to other people. I was like, I'm going to get a job.
Well, I already had a job.
Well, I barely did. I was like, and I didn't actually. I traveled.
Yeah, I know. Like, knowing what I know,
I was like,
I'm
know
looking
what?
at you going, like, yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
know why
you were
didn't
planning
feel
to
this.
like have a business mentality with your housing, and I was like, you know what? This is a great time to go harvest lavender for free in New Zealand and stay on somebody's farm.
I know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that same house. This is a real story, by the way. I truly did go and harvest lavender, and they made us. Now I'm all in the weeds. You were talking about your quadplex, but I'll never forget. We showed up, and it was like they had been harvesting lavender for days, and there was like one strip left, and there's like, imagine the amount of bees that hang out in a lavender field.
Oh, and they're all just focused on that last little patch.
They're like, here you go. We've got 4 plants left, and you're like, is that a beehive or is it a lavender field? Because holy shit. And they're like, just wear gloves. And you're like, okay. And they actually did have bee hives too.
Oh, so of course, because you're pollinating the lavender.
You're making lavender honey. Yeah, I fucked that all up.
Everything.
You have to have patience. You're supposed to like just let the honey drip from the honeycomb and whatever. Mm-hmm. And they were like, "Oh, can you clean it out?" I'm like scraping it out or whatever, and they're like, "You got wax all in our honey." Even when you're working for free, they're like, "You need to go find somewhere else to stay."
There's an amazing invention that came out probably about 6-7 years ago now. It was started on Kickstarter, and it was this plastic hive or this beehive, and they have these things, and what it does is that if you think about it, there's hexes. They go like this, and what it does is it shifts them. It goes
shifts them, and it all
and then
drops.
the honey just flows down, and it's like this super easy to.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. If we ever buy property, I'm going to put those on it.
Yeah.
And get my own honey.
Did we already talk about the Meghan Markle show?
Oh, no, we did not talk
about the
Meghan Markle show.
Oh, my God. First of all, I heard something.
It's so calm. What'd you hear?
I heard something hilarious the other day on my favorite podcast, Giggly Squad. They were like, if you want a good nap, they were like, put that shit on. They were like, she's so calm. Her voice is so calm.
She's so calm.
But the very first episode, she's like making everything honey, and she's got like all these bees, and she's got like a professional that she's hired to come in. She's like, this is so cool, but this is my professional that comes in and does all my honey for me. I'm like, Meghan Markle would have,
and by the way, like you didn't make me watch the episode, but it was kind of like we were there. And you had it on.
Look, it's good background.
And so she had a friend that came to
watch.
visit. And I'm like, are these people going to have like a normal conversation? And I feel like the one woman was just so hesitant to talk or to say anything. It was like struggle bus. And
it was.
And we watched it because I wanted to see something happen.
Like, did it get better? And it didn't.
No, it did not.
And look,
better.
I'm not harping on Meghan. They were saying the other day, like, I guess she's gotten a lot of hate online, which I haven't heard.
Oh, really?
I guess.
I don't know why. There was nothing wrong with
everyone's
her.
sitting
the
there.
show's weird.
Well, everyone's sitting in there and they're. So everyone's like, oh, great. You got your Netflix series to sit there and be like, this is what I do. I mean, I said the same thing to you. I'm like, I love it. I'm watching. This woman's got every dried herb flower on her counter. Someone's coming over to stay and she's like, I made you watermelon chilled towels for your, to wipe your sweat off after your walk. And I'm like, I want to go to Meghan Markle's house and wipe my sweat off with watermelon chilled towels.
Who does that?
Like, that's amazing.
That's what a royal does.
And exactly. But everyone's like, oh, this rich bitch. And I'm like,
I would think that too.
Yeah, but the thing is like, yeah, she's got a show on Netflix. Good for Meghan Markle. She's got enough time to harvest honey with her professionals and have terrible conversations. With friends
the towel thing
TV.
is definitely a little bit over the top. But like, if you think about it, like if someone comes over and we make a charcuterie board or we make like a little dessert. Or this bitch,
she's making sugar scrubs for you to take your bath at night.
Well, no, she was making dog treats for a friend from scratch.
She did make dog treats.
It's kind of like
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous,
but it's amazing. And by the way, half the time she's like, "We're making candles. I've never done this before." It's
and they turn out amazing. You're like, sure, you haven't. Well, you don't see the entire butler staff on the side there with like towels on their hands and they're like,
you know what? Good for them. They're having fun. She starts like rushing, but I'm like, who doesn't want to watch Meghan Markle try to make a freaking candle?
First of all, I actually love Meghan Markle.
Me too.
I loved
she
her
was
in
great
Suits.
in Suits.
I loved her in Suits.
Look, I have never been on the other side of that royal
what's so
dilemma.
Crazy is that I saw the whole royal thing. I actually never watched Suits before.
Oh, okay.
Then I watched Suits, and then I was like, oh, that's Meghan Markle, and I was like, I actually really enjoy her, and so
I had no idea she was like a professional actress.
You didn't know that?
Well, I knew she had tried. I didn't realize she was in Suits, and she was like such a good actress.
Because she was in some B movies or something.
Whatever. I didn't know what she really did. Yeah. I knew she was saving children in Africa and stuff, which is like really nice of her. Her and Harry like travel and.
Okay.
Nice
I actually, I don't know them, but I actually feel like that those royals are like, I would be like, these seem like really, really cool, genuine people to me.
Well, I think
The two boys.
The royal family and all of the people who follow them so, profusely are going to be so mad at this because I don't really understand, but I'm pretty sure they're like out of the family altogether. I think they like signed.
They are.
Yeah, they signed off their rights. And so technically they're not.
I'm pretty sure he's still like a duke or something like that.
I
or
don't
like
know.
some type of earl or he's technically a prince.
Look, he's doing just fine. He's got a freaking garden that's the size of our entire condo
They
complex.
get issued like plots of land.
Good for them.
It's like
But they're in California
and they're
now, I
estates.
think.
Yeah, they might be in the United States, so they just bought one and be like, okay, you can't be at Buckingham Palace, so we're going to get you mini Buckingham here in Malibu.
Yeah, it's very nice. I know, and I'm not really sure
Should
where
we move
she's
to California.
Where she's, I do like
I love
Cali.
Cali.
Yeah, but those wildfires, that was
Yeah,
intense.
and the politics can't handle it,
And the taxes.
and the taxes. Who
Really,
wants
the
to be
taxes.
taxed like that?
Yeah, it's
There's
pretty
an
intense.
article that taxes might they're trying to get rid of property tax in Florida, which will be insane because I don't know how you subsidize that because all the
I'm
the
like
property,
speechless. I don't even understand how you can do that.
I don't know either, but I think it was
Who's saying that?
the governor.
Of Florida?
Yes, DeSantis.
DeSantis is our governor.
Yeah, I'll tell you some
Rick
more research
Scott
about
is who?
He might be a senator.
The senator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or was. He's had a couple. He was the governor a little while ago. Rick Scott's an interesting. He's kind of like the guy. Like,
Let's be nice.
Okay, yeah. He's kind of like the guy that just take the job and just changes.
We're
his,
live and we live in the state. Let's just.
Yeah. Well,
No, it's
I
fine.
have nothing bad to say.
No.
And nothing good to say. I'm just saying.
Got nothing to say at all. We're moving on.
Okay. Anyways, I wrote down. Before we switch to something serious. And
There's
stuff,
a note
that-
on here that says sweating.
I know. I'm taking this medication. Oh. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I think I sweat before that. But I think it's exacerbated the sweating.
Well, there's also.
And so I'm on these calls, right? And so I look
here,
fine.
you're sweating
but I like
here.
to stretch sometimes and you can kind of see I got a little, little
underarm sweat going on?
sweat going on. And I'm fine. I'm not nervous. I'm excited. Matter of fact, I'm pretty happy.
Maybe.
And what?
Does happy equate to like no sweat?
Yeah, I think so.
I think happy people sweat all the time.
Well, if you're running, maybe.
Yeah.
But my thought is like, it's really funny. It brought me back to a conversation that I had with a youth pastor. And the guy was on stage and they were like taking questions. And I raised my hand and I was like, I go, what deodorant do you use not to sweat on stage?
You asked this question
absolutely,
live?
because he goes, I'm a profuse sweater. And he goes, I use this, and he named the
Brand.
and
you can't remember it?
I can't. And
Well,
I
you
had
gotta
bought
call
it
him.
years ago.
Okay.
Because I feel like I was going to.
Was it Old Spice?
No, it was not. It was like a no brand, and it was like it would have done it. It like sealed your armpits. It was like moisture barrier. Or
So you
something.
need to find it.
I do.
Yeah.
So I don't think it shows up on the podcast.
I was going
here,
to say, meh. There it is. I was going to say, I thought you meant at home because you liked to freeze me out of the house before. You'd keep it at like 68 and it would pretty much
At
take
night.
all day. Yeah, but the house would be freezing.
72. The house is at
Traps
72
in.
during the
But
day.
now we have a little infant who would freeze to death. So he's agreed to 70, which is still quite cold.
I did. Is it 70? Oh yeah. At night I turned it to 70. That's why I'm sweating. It
Here we
all
go.
comes back to me now.
I gotta.
We got-
Okay. I just needed to make sure there wasn't an emergency.
Yeah. There's no emergency. We're not talking about any Bay stuff here. So, anyway, we have a new segment today based off of people just either messaging or talking about things or emailing, and I gave it a name. I'm calling it, and also because our family was like, "Hey, are you guys going to talk about something like serious? Like, what's your structure, and stuff?" And
was
it's been kind of
forever
dwelling.
ago.
No, it's been dwelling on me though. Like I think about it,
been dwelling
and I
on
go,
it.
should we have some sort of structure? Because this is actually one of my favorite things. I look forward to this so much because I get to hang out with you for an hour.
Yeah.
Like
thank you.
this
It's
is
nice.
like
I agree.
my thing.
And we're like awake.
and we're awake because when we're home, we're sleeping. So
No, we're just tired or like life's happening or whatever. But okay, what's the segment
all right.
called?
So
I feel like
it's
this is
called
like
it's called
like,
problem pitching. Right?
I feel like this is Andy Cohen, like Watch What Happens Live.
I know.
Like
I
now
love Andy
we're
Cohen.
doing.
I know. Let's play a game. And if you hear this word, you take a shot.
Okay, yeah. What's the word?
Problem.
Problem. Okay.
I don't know. No, it's not for me to say it. It's for the listeners. They have to see it, right?
No, if it's
And then
said.
if you say the word,
Yeah.
then they do it. But
Yeah.
you don't know what the word is. So I have to pick a new word. Ready? Pick a new word.
That's a problem.
No, you're not supposed to say anything. All right. Anyways, so here it is. My husband just purchased a franchise and is spending more time in the business than we talked about. He's coming home late and losing his Saturdays and sometimes doing stuff on Sunday.
Oh, interesting topic this woman
Obviously,
brings up.
I'm upset, but also worried about him burning himself out. We have 2 kids, 11 and 14. We're in our 40s, and I thought we would be more, quote, retired by now.
Man, do I relate to her. No, I'm kidding. You're pretty good. I mean, you're an entrepreneur and you've always had business, you know. Here's the thing that I will say. Well, first of all, I'm sure you have comments too, but
Yeah, I'm letting you go first.
relating to us, because we can relate, you are very into business. And I've always been a businesswoman, but I've never been passionate about needing to be stuck in business like you. Business is not just work for you. It is like a way of life. You get a lot, I was going to say 90%, which is an extreme number, but you get a lot of enjoyment out of work. And I don't think there's like work life and home life. I think they blend together. Like if things are good at work, then things are good at home. And I mean, to be honest, if things are good at work, things are good at home. If things are good at home, it doesn't necessarily mean things are good at work.
Right.
It just doesn't. I mean, because
Right.
you don't know what's going on. But yeah, there's fulfillment for people in life. Some people enjoy sports and like following a team, and some people enjoy music and going to concerts or playing something themselves. And your hobby and enjoyment is being successful at work, or like accomplishing something, or bringing product to market, or creating something new, or having an idea and watching it come to fruition. So there is this element of that will never stop. Even if we had all the money in the world, which we don't, you know, but even if we did, you would still need to have some sort of fulfillment. Like on the weekends, if we have no plans, that's not great for you. You enjoy weekends where you've got either physical projects that you need to work on, like you just helped my dad fix his entire hot tub, you know? So it's like, it just depends on who the person is. So I would say like, you know, this guy just purchased a franchise. Obviously, he's looking to work for himself, but also, I mean, he's working towards a lifestyle where they probably could be more so retired and enjoy life. But even when you have the money, that's the thing. If this guy's a businessman, like he might be successful with one franchise and be like, that's awesome. We got the money and I'm not a workaholic and that's what I wanted to do. Or he might be someone that's like, this is proof that I'm capable of making money, making business decisions like this. I'm going to buy another franchise. You know, who knows?
Yeah, for sure. I agree with the burning. I think that people who love work, actually, I have a couple of thoughts. One is this concept of weekday and weekend, right? So like specifically addressing the fact that like there's this imaginary line where there's no work supposed to be done on a Saturday or Sunday.
Right.
And then you have all these professions that work the weekends and then have like Sunday, Monday off, or, you know, Monday, Tuesday. Chick-fil-A's closed on Sunday altogether for a day of rest. Chick-fil-A. And so, you know, my thought is that it's the same reason like with the beach here, right? Like it's like, why do people only go to the beach on the weekends? You know,
Well, they don't. You're just working. But I do know what you're saying.
I'm saying that people,
those people have
they
work
take
during the week.
tasks
Yeah.
and they say that, oh, this needs to be done this day, this needs to be done
Yes.
that day. And so you are 100% right. I love work. Like, and I think that what most people don't know, and maybe that she doesn't know, is that a lot of people who purchase franchises are people who have gone up in the corporate world.
Yeah.
And then they are either pushed out or replaced, or they get to a point where they've kind of maxed out their ceiling and they're really tired of working for the man. Like they're told what to do. They're working the 9 to 5 and they do want a little bit of freedom. And so they've earned money. So they've usually got a chunk of change.
No, we talked about this. It's
to
usually
invest.
like executives. That,
Yeah, it's like young, it's
have
executives.
worked their way up. And,
Yeah, they've been working for 20 years and they're ready for some new chapter in their life or to change something. And so I think that in this case here, that it shouldn't be looked as a like, you know, I thought we'd be retired by now. The reality is that you would need so much in your 40s to retire to do that. But, you know, getting a new franchise, getting started and working for a handful of years, whether it be 3 or 5, just like you said, he might be able to invest in a second franchise, third franchise, and train the people to kind of relieve. So I'm not sure there's a question in here.
Their kids are 11 and 4. Well, it's kind of like, you know, what do I do? Their kids are 11 and 14. So I can feel for this person because the reality is we're building a business right now. And even though we're older parents, there is I don't know what the right word is. I feel like timing is good for us because as we're spending time here to build a business, we're also having kids at a very young age. By the time the kids are 11 and 14, I would also hope that life looked very different.
We would have started 10 years earlier, 15 years earlier than them.
Right.
On building a business.
And we don't know what that looked like beforehand. You know, it's nice to be able to have time with the kids, but it's hard to like go out and travel and, you know, well, I say that a lot of people do it, which good for them.
Well, you saw the video I sent you with the couple traveling and
yeah, there's all these things. Yeah. It's like you can put your baby down in your living room or you can put your baby down and be on a beach. My only thing is that like it's hot on the beach and is the baby going to overheat? I don't know.
Yeah, seriously. Portable air conditioner.
Yeah, but no, I think just like starting a family, I mean, it's hard. It's like if you do it while they're young, it's a lot all at once. But anyway, I think that
I don't know, at age 14, it's like, hey, I got to buy a car. There's college coming soon. So I think there's some mental things there. Be like, hey, we just dumped all this money into this business and we have liabilities coming up.
You also just brought up a really great point. Like there is people who do have families. There's a point in time where your kids go to college. And then all of a sudden you're like, what do I do? You know, like you've been coming home or you've been traveling as a family and like your kids kind of have their own life. It's like as a couple, you're kind of starting your relationship again because it's totally different. You just spent 18 years with kids and now you're like, okay, let's like each other again and just our own company.
I don't want to get to that point. I think we should probably like each other the entire time.
We will. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. No.
Pinky
number
promise.
one priority. Yeah. I got to use this hand.
Okay. All right.
You got to kiss and then,
Pinky promise. So, yeah, we'll work on that.
Yeah, no, but that's always a struggle. And we went a long time ago to that Career Source conference and listened to all those people talk about family and relationships, even people without kids. It's with a significant other. It was challenging to have a business. And some businesses, they risked it all and it failed. And like still to this day, that one person was like, I can't even walk past the location that my shop used to be because it was my everything. And due to, you know, conditions outside of their control, things failed. But they had other successes. But it wasn't without putting stress on the relationship.
And whether things are going well or bad, or you're spending too much time or too little time, I think probably one of the key things there, and this, what sounds like this person's wavering on, is support. I think probably the biggest thing a spouse can give the other spouse is the support, right? And just be like, hey, just so you know, I'm here. Like, I understand. I think you can voice your opinions and share what's happening, but there also needs to be an element of support. And I think it would help to just explain why all this time was being expended.
Yeah, and it's hard because you can sit there and say, I'm watching Grey's Anatomy right now, which I'm like started season 1. Now I don't even know what season I'm on. I think I'm on like 12. I mean, this has been like months and months, but yeah. Anyway, what I was going to say is not to ruin it for anybody, but hopefully the rest of the world has already watched it. There's an element of sacrifice and commitment, you know, that you make when you're in a relationship, but you kind of need to align your values in the beginning of that relationship. And people change. I mean, Paige and Craig broke up like from Summer House.
I know. I'm so happy for Craig.
Well, anyway, I'm so happy for Paige, but it's like Paige has admittedly said, what she thought she wanted in the beginning of their relationship to where she is today has
very
changed.
Emotionally mature.
But it is very emotionally mature. And they made the decision to separate before they committed or got in too deep with children and a lifestyle that she's just not seeing herself in. And I bring up Grey's Anatomy because Christina and Owen, who are 2 characters on the show, they're both surgeons. The guy wants kids. Christina doesn't want kids. And she's kind of like, you know, they show this whole episode of like her envisioning, like, what does the future look like? Where she like ends up having kids and like kind of inevitably gives up who she was and what she was doing. And so it's like, there's just no way around it. When you have kids, there are sacrifices that are going to be made, or you don't. And so it's the same thing with a franchise or like owning a business. It's like, was that discussed? Or I know you're a business guy, and so I have that expectation going in to our future that that's not going to change. But you could sit here, you're saying support your spouse, which is great. Sometimes it can be hard to support your spouse. It's like, are they doing something that was out of line or wasn't discussed initially? Because you could tell this person not to do it, but then there's like a bitterness and an animosity.
That's where the trouble
and then
gets
that
into
person
play.
sits there and says, well, I wanted to do it. So it's like, it is this double-edged sword. The wife is sitting there bitter because she thought she was going to have a different, more retired life and enjoy the
Right.
children and whatever. But if the husband doesn't do it, then
Right.
then he's bitter, thinking I'm
working.
working for the man and I really want a franchise to be successful so we can have that lifestyle. There's no right answer.
There's a lot of books that talk to these things. There's a book that I read coming out of out of the Army called Self-Directed Work Teams. And it's clearly, and really in this case here, he's got to build a team that can then focus and do their job on their own. Like they don't need
Leadership,
that
you
leadership.
mean?
Well, there's leadership there and saying, hey, this is what we're trying to accomplish. Now everyone go work
and
towards
do
that
it.
goal.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Self-motivation is
a
needed.
book I haven't read in forever. Speaking of books, you have any like go-tos? What's your go-to book? Give me 2 books. Your 2 go-tos.
Well, hold on. So I was driving. I'm in a book club right now, I'm in a couple of book clubs, but I'm in one is a cookbook book club and the other one is like actual reading. So I was driving here and I was thinking about how we used to read a business book a month.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be great if you're just taking on the knowledge and using what you can relate to or what
Right.
feels relevant, and then moving on. We ended up in a bad situation where it was like you read a book and you're like, okay, we need to implement
something
we need to
from this book
implement
today.
OKRs. We need to implement this. And it's like, okay.
And you got 30 days, then you move on to something
And
new.
then you read another book and all of a sudden you got a new idea, versus like the people who wrote these books came up with these concepts and literally practiced them for 20 something years and became successful because they
Right.
stuck to that mentality, the carrot or the stick or whatever else when it comes to sales. And so there have been some great business books that we've read, but you were about to say one and then you turned to me and you said a book.
I was just curious what yours were. I have mine. I actually have 2 that I really love. I probably have like 10 that I really, really love.
Yeah,
But
you
if
know
I have
business
to
books
pick
way better than
2,
me, but I do have a couple.
I'm going to pick the energy bus.
Yeah.
And that's getting the right people on your bus and the right team. I think that you have to get people off the bus if they're not a right fit. And the sooner you do that, the better. And that is the hardest thing to do, is to bring someone on who left another job or left another opportunity, who came to work for you, and then it's just not working out. And so the best thing to do is kind of root that out beforehand. But it's not always.
It's not even that they left another job. It could be somebody who's worked for the company for years and they like either become toxic or there's too much
true.
baggage or they have a bad situation. It's just in general. Do you have the right energy? Are you on the bus? Do you believe in the mission and vision? Are you moving forward with everybody else? Or are you like...
We should give the energy bus as a welcome book gift for
That's not
everyone
a bad
that joins
idea.
the company. It
when-
is my favorite book.
When we worked at previous companies, you gave it to like all of leadership.
I
and it
gave
was
it
like
to
a great,
leadership as a gift.
It was
Yeah.
a great book for everybody to read and kind of get on the same.
The second
get on
book,
the same bus.
which is not nearly as fun and short, is a book called The Power of Habit.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Sanzu.
The what?
Sanzu, the Art of War.
Sun Tzu?
Sun Tzu.
Okay. The Art of War is interesting. I am all about the Art of War, but not as a book. As a concept, I'm 100%,
Okay.
into it. And most people quote that, really like, it's Art of War. And it's like, well, what does that mean exactly for you? You know?
Okay, so what was the other book again?
The Power of Habit.
Okay.
And the power of
yeah,
habit
yeah, yeah.
and I always equate it to my good friend, Tim Walsh, who always says that whenever you're inventing a new game or a new toy, he goes,
wonder if
don't
he
invent
knows.
a new process. He says, stick within existing play patterns. It's much easier to get someone to love your product when they already have the general rules in place. They already know how it's going to go. He goes, adoption's so hard when you invent a new playbook. The Power of Habit talks about the habit cycle And so what our habits are made of and how the circle goes. And then it talks about how do you, not to break a habit, but how do you intervene in a habit? I'll give you an example in the book. So he says, if you get up, what's your routine every day? And so my routine is I wake up, I go to the bathroom, I get up, I throw my clothes on, I make a cup of coffee, and then I get in the front of the computer, I get on my phone, I read, blah, 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 I get in the car and I go to work, right? So that's the habit that takes place. That habit happens every day. Now, let's say he says you want to start running, right? He goes, it is ridiculous for you to think that you're going to wake up and just go put your clothes on and go run. He said, it's so hard to do that. He goes, what you need to do is the night before is take your running shoes, put your running shoes by the toilet. So you go there, you go to the bathroom. Oh, my running shoes here. You put your running shoes on. Then you get up and then where you brush your teeth or whatever, and you put your clothes. So you're like, okay, I'm going to get these clothes on. And so what you want to do is interrupt the habit loop, what they call the habit loop.
To try to create new habits.
And so you do that.
And it takes how long to create a new habit?
It's like
17
iterations or impacts or something like that.
Okay.
I think it's in the high teens.
Okay.
It's been a while since I read it, but it impacts a lot of what we tell people in the software. When we're building software, people, I always bring up the habit loop. I go, what are your clients already doing? What are your people already doing? What's your potential client already doing? How do we get into that loop, right? How do we do that? And even with our own stuff internally, I'm constantly thinking here like, okay, how do I go and how do I break into these people's habits? How do I make us the ones that they call? And it's made me shift some of our software and our things. Like, obviously I don't get it right every time.
No.
But
that's the point.
It's like listening and implementing is
Yeah.
super important.
I love that.
Anyway, those are my two.
I've
but
got
I
a
think I do
couple.
think we should give the Energy Bus away.
Yeah, that would be
I might
good.
order a bunch of copies.
One
so
of
everyone can have
mine
one.
is,
Have you ever read the Energy Bus?
Oh, it's good. And it's short. It's
short.
short. It's very short.
It's like
Same
200
with the
pages.
X Factor.
No, it's like 100.
The X Factor is like tiny, or 16X. That's what it is.
What's so funny?
I don't know why I just.
There's a
think
book
X Factor.
called like the 4-Hour Work Week, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a normal 200-page book, right? Normal. Well, then there's a pamphlet. It's called the Summary of the 2-Hour Work Week. It's
4-Hour Work Week.
It's like 4 pages.
Really?
Like, yeah.
You're like,
and
oh my
I
gosh.
laugh I own it. I
Dude,
laugh because
you own a lot of books.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good ones. One of my favorites is Fierce Conversations, and I had to read it.
You're a big conversation.
Well, I am
and
a
fierce.
major communicator, but it's kind of like having the tough conversations that you're too scared to have or you don't want to have, but doing it without the emotion involved. Like, a lot of times people feel a certain way, and so they either don't want to have the conversation or you're distracting me.
No, keep going. I'm letting him. I have a meeting right after this, so I'm letting him be late.
I'm going to have a fierce conversation with you right now. No, it's really good. When I was in a leadership program, actually, we read the book, and it really stuck with me because it's a lot of times people do react with emotion, but it kind of takes all the emotion out of it. And it's like, what happened, and what were the actions that they took that made you feel this way, and why did it make you feel that way? And it really makes you like continue asking yourself, but why? So when you go and talk to someone, you're not like, I can't believe you did this and blah, blah, blah. You're like, hey, when you did this, it made me feel like you were questioning my character or whatever, it was like
Right.
and you're very like matter of fact or factual about, what you're saying. Hey, this project was meant to be done and whatever, you delayed, and it can be personal or professional, and it kind of lays out this template. And I remember we all had to stand in this line, and the line turned, and you were just with like a random partner, but you had to put together kind of this outline of a fierce conversation that you should have had or had, been meaning to have, and you've just been putting it off because it was a hard conversation to have. And you like practiced on this other person to allow that person to be, and then that person having no context, not knowing the other side of the conversation at all, could like pose questions or say like, hey, this is how it came across, or like,
Right.
what did this person do? Did they do this? It sounds like they did this. And then you're like explaining, and they're like, okay, well, that was good, but maybe you should say this. And like getting like real-time feedback from a complete random in this workshop was pretty powerful. And I
like that.
actually took it and went and had a fierce conversation that I had been waiting to have for a very long time. And it ended up being great in terms of like growth in my career.
Yeah. I probably need to read that book too.
It's great.
I will
And
take
it's
a look
great
at
for
it.
sales and stuff too. I mean, it's not necessarily like negotiation tactics, but it is more about, sales is emotional. People make decisions based on emotions, but
Yeah.
it's like you're having the right conversations.
When you were talking about that, there's a sales concept. It says, tell them what you're going to tell them.
Yeah.
Tell them and
And
tell
then
them
tell
what
them
you
again.
told them.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like this
can't remember
small
what book
little
that was.
repeats. I'm not sure where that came
See,
from.
we read so
There's
many
so many
books
good
for
little
so
snippets
long.
that you can.
And a lot of them
put in
are
your
really
life.
old, but still relevant today.
How to win friends and influence people.
And other ones,
Classic.
Technology has come such a long way. It's like, it's very interesting to hear a lot of the old school techniques used, which again, some like if going door to door or like being in person is still great. Outbound, conferences, whatever. But it is interesting how some of those techniques that were utilized in the past, because those were the avenues that you had, are still the same exact techniques, but you're leveraging technology to do so. So it's like the mental is the same, but the physical's changed.
I feel like we're on such a good flow right now, and I totally want to just hang out and keep talking.
No, we can't.
But I can't because I have a meeting.
Yeah. All right.
I know.
Cutting it short. Time is
technically we did
valuable.
time. I'm just 5 minutes late to the previous meeting, but I messaged. I got yelled at, so I want to, jump in.
Well, shoot.
But I got yelled at by you.
Oh, yeah, because you were on your phone.
Yeah.
Well, it was distracting. I was talking about my favorite book.
I know. I'm sorry. Well, we have a list of topics in business here, and so I'm just going to save those for next week.
Okay.
So next week we're going to talk about boxes. So we're going to talk about shipping out boxes.
We didn't even talk about going to the lake for the first time.
We'll save it for next week.
We
got free fills.
I want to talk
about free fills and giving away product. Like, what's the benefit? Is it worth it? What's the cost? I want to kind of share that with our listeners, like what we're going through on our seasoning company and like what the impact is for us to do that, and how we give away everything, and how do you stay alive and do that kind of thing. And then I also want to talk about converting your office next week. So.
Which is just ridiculous.
I know. So we'll end on that.
We're not going to.
That's the suspense.
We're not going to convert my office.
Oh, we're not?
People can use it.
Oh, no. I use it all the time.
Do you?
Yeah. For calls and stuff.
You go in there?
Yeah. And when I talk to you, and that way I'm not like distracted by my computer.
That's nice.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week.
See ya.
See ya.